What we're gonna do right here is go back. What we're gonna do right here is go back. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back.
Right, welcome back to Cool Style Reviews. It's been a while, but today I'm going to go ahead and review MakeToys, their Paladin and Chaos set. So here's the box here, part of the Crystal City Chronicles. I believe those started actually with Giant, so pretty cool stuff. They have the ongoing storylines and everything like that. Got a picture of Paladin. Here's the fully combined version, Chaos. It's kind of like Paladin, who turns into this guy, kind of a Megatronus deal here, and another random tank they combine for the Fallen. But okay, just top of the box. And these do use the Power Core Combiner ports, as you can see here, so they're completely parts forming, you know. Yeah, there we have it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Paladin and the other tank, which doesn't have a name. I'm going to go ahead and get Predator out of the way here. He's bending up the background. But alright. So they don't have rotating wheels or anything like that. Just two really basic tanks. Make sure I'm in focus and all that good stuff. Get you the side view of each. Alright. And like I said, they don't have actual wheels or treads or anything like that. So this one's kind of what you see is what you get. Paladin, on the other hand, it does transform. And what's nice about these ones is you don't even really need the instructions or anything like that. You can pretty much look at the box. In fact, I haven't went through the instructions yet, but you know exactly what you're getting. So we'll go ahead, put this one to the side. Transform Paladin here. Alright, go ahead and undo these legs. And these treads, you just have to wiggle them until they get loose. They actually, right there is where they split out. Okay. Then you just bring his arms down. Oops, I'm moving the camera here. Okay. So from there, his hands flip out. Okay. Just rotate his hip baggy thingies down. Right. He does have a little crotch cover there. We're going to extend his legs, then we're going to rotate him. You can kind of see where to rotate him because he has knee articulation. Alright. So and then these just twist frontwards and they stay inside. And there you go. And these are kind of posable because his shoulders do have articulation and stuff like that there. There you go. And since this is kind of fallen, it's likely that he's supposed to reference Megatronus. And it depends on what fiction you look at, because it's mostly said that Megatronus is one of the 13 original primes, and he basically turns on the other primes and becomes the first Decepticon. And another fiction, I believe like Transformers Prime and stuff like that, he's actually a gladiator and he becomes Megatron. So for this one though, we're obviously he's not going to become Megatron. So this would be Megatronus. And that sort of continuity. But here you go. Really stumpy little guy. Give you an all-around view of him. Okay. Alright, so looking at his articulation here, he does have a head that's sort of on a ball joint, just doesn't get much rotation there. Alright, he does have full articulation at the shoulders and stuff like that. Like I said, these move out, depending on what you want to do. Ball jointed elbow joints here, for all that. And the wrists, they don't rotate, but they do move in and out some. Give you a little bit of playroom there. Alright. He does actually turn at the waist. Ratchet in. Hips. Thigh swivel. And then he's got some posability in the feet there. So, actually taking a look at him here. You can take a look there. You can actually put in some work and get some good poses. Go ahead and focus there. But yeah, he's not a bad looking bot, you know, and it's nice for them to go ahead and throw it in. It's just not something that's nearly as cool as, you know, of course, the Fallen. So there's that. And now we'll actually go ahead and get this thing turned into Chaos, which is a cool name because in the Dreamwave comics, yeah, he was actually part of a kind of Decepticon clique called the Chaos Trinity. So, got to take this off the back here. Okay. Oops. You've actually got to get these treads back in place. Okay. And we're just going reverse. These are kind of hard to swing around for whatever reason. But once you get it, you got it. You kind of have to take this and swing it around itself there. You know, kind of a U, if that makes sense. Alright? It should. I feel good about it. Alright. And this is going to be the chest plate here. You just got to make sure that's angled down when you pull these back. These are shoulder joints. Okay? And then the head, you just flip it. Okay? So you've got that. And boom. Okay? You see the shoulder joints here and everything like that. And from there, go ahead and get those how they're supposed to look. And you can take this all the way back here. And once again, this is another joint, these shoulders, they kind of have to work around themselves. I am not the biggest fan of transforming this part. And I just popped the head off the ball joint. But see, that joint right there actually blocked the shoulder from going all the way back. But luckily, head's not super tight, so I can just pop it back on. Alright, no harm, no foul. Alright, and boom, we're almost there. So, these feet, they just swing up to the side. And so you know that you actually push them all the way up here. The purple bits are supposed to go in front, okay? And since you already had them flipped down for the Paladin robot mode, these hip thingies, missiles, whatever you want to call them, are already good. So you've got the upper body made, you know? Alright, now for this fun, non-rolling tank thing, it just breaks apart, okay? So right here you've kind of got the shins, if you want to call them that. You can see like the knees there and everything. You just reverse them so the PCCs are on the outside. Put those away. The feet are actually on these back parts here, and you just pull them off. Okay. And actually, we'll just start building these as we go. The feet are, I like them to have outward swivel. They're on ball joints. So you already see the posability there. They're equal on each side, so it doesn't matter what one you pop them onto. Alright, if you didn't see, right there. Okay. So there's that. And the PCC joints actually just pop out of the bottom of the foot here. Or bottom of the thigh, since it's fall we're looking at. Okay. Angle the camera up some. Okay, and you can see we're almost done. If you look here, the arms already have the fist attached and everything like that. So all you're doing is taking this guy and boom, you already have an arm. You're just going to pop it out of the top and instead pop it into the bottom of the arm here. So there's that. Going to do the same thing. And you just kind of, let me get some light on it, wiggle it. Because they're a decent lock. They're not super tight though. Okay. And boom. Just make sure the PCC ports are on the outside, because that's going to give you more, I guess, wiggle room with the weapons and stuff like that. And I actually did it reverse. See how the missile side's showing? I guess you can do it either way. You know, I think the missile side looks kind of cool actually. But you're supposed to have the closed side there. So we'll go ahead and we will reverse that so the non-missile side shows. Okay. Now, with the cannons that were on Paladin in tank mode, you have a couple of options here. You could clip it into there, or if you want something really crazy, you could clip it into his arms as well. But I like it on the shoulder there. Now, one thing that was kind of cool was actually Ian Reed, or YouTuber Hard Return, that showed me this. You could break them in half and kind of have smokestacks there on each side. Okay. And that just gives them even more of that just intimidating look. Okay. Alright. Now, and see, that's the PCC ports. They'll stay locked in forever, but then they just randomly pop out. Now for the swords, they just come with separate halves here. And you just kind of work the two halves into each other. Make sure they're all nice and tight. Now for me, I will say this. I had to whittle with a razor blade some space in his right hand for him to be able to hold the sword. Now on mine, the sword doesn't clip in the best at the handle. So I actually just press it down some and use the hand to hold it tight. But once you get it in there, it rotates and everything like that, and you see it stays, so it's fine. But okay. There you have the Fallen. I'm actually gonna, just for the sake of being able to zoom in on them, take those big smokestacks off. Stand them up here. And I'm just clipping this back. Okay. Alright. And you can see he's very large. He's between that 6.5, 7-inch size range. So your range is right in there with your Voyager figures and stuff like that. But just to give you a look top to down, the Dreamwave aesthetic that they went for is just out of control. Especially with the orange highlights and stuff like that, just to give it that fiery feel. Very, very, very well done. So, I do dig it. Top to bottom, this thing is a stud. But let me go ahead and show you guys all sides of them. And he is pretty well balanced. I'm definitely impressed with that part. Okay, so we have those right there, and there you have it. Alright, I almost forgot one piece. He does come with 2 turret guns here, and you can actually peg these into the back of his feet for added stability. So very cool. So alright, speaking of that stability and stuff like that, well, I clip these in. And like I said, I've never looked at the instructions once, and it takes nothing to get this guy transformed in no time. Even at TFCon when I bought him, it was like 5 minutes, and I had it. So, definitely not hard for you guys at home. Okay? So, ball jointed head. Alright. Shoulder rotation. He's got some front and back swing because of the way he transforms, but definite up and down movement. Bicep swivel. Now, one hint, he has really strong ratchet joints, and these PCCs, they're tight, but with friction they will pop out. So when you're ratcheting the joints, push in on the arm here. Or else if you're just trying to, there's a likelihood, because see how it has that like boing or spring to it, that they'll pop off. Alright? Let me go ahead and put that down. Alright, he does have waist swivel there. Okay? But his waist is kind of loose. So I actually prefer having this part in the back up to keep him in place unless I need to move the waist. Alright? So, another thing to watch out for, these sliders here. They lock, but just like the PCC joints, with friction, they will slide down. So when you're ratcheting the thighs, full articulation here, you kind of push up on it. Alright, thigh swivel. Alright, an actual bend at the knee here. Okay. As well as ball jointed ankles, like we saw earlier. So he even has ankle tilts. Okay. Now just getting him into a similar pose that we had Paladin into. Yeah, this thing's awesome. Just a really, really impressive, I guess, shelf presence. You know, he just looks great while I'm covering him up with my hands. A lot of options with the guns and things like that. In fact, if you wanted to, you can go ahead and, hell, just plain have, you know, 2 guns, one on each arm there, which I do love. So the options there, pretty cool. I'm not the biggest fan of the separated modes and things like that, but this end product is one that I pay for on its own. You know, it's cool that it has the ability to interact with your power core combiners and things like that, making new limbs for them. I mean, look at that. That is fucking badass. And that's my first time even doing that. I just thought of it while filming this. But anyway, go ahead and zooming in on him there. Just final thoughts, he's well worth the buy. I know he hasn't been released at a lot of places. Luckily enough, I was able to get him at Fans Project Core's booth at TFCon. And like I said, well worth the purchase. It was like $100 on the dot or something like that, plus tax. So definitely one I recommend. Like I said, not the biggest fan of the 2 separate modes. But when you get him into Chaos or the Fallen, man, he is spectacular. But anyway, this has been another Kuma Style review. TJ Duckett, and good to be back into the swing of things again. Thanks for watching.